So our next presentation is by Mark B. Mark's doing a data science degree, and his presentation is building student engagement and supporting learning through interactive virtual environments. It is supervised by the School of Education in the Faculty of Humanities. So over to you, Mark, and I'll just get you all.
Hi everyone. Today my project is building student engagement and supporting learning through interactive virtual reality environments. So a little bit of background. So currently one unit inside school education has 14,000 students. That's a part of it. And many of these students are engaging with the environment, engaging with their learning online, mainly because a lot are from regional areas, and many more are from have other commitments such as long working hours, and they have families and children and dependents that they have to take care of. So this makes a huge gap between the students online students as they're not able to engage with the school and actually interact with campus and online and academic staff. This project seeks to bridge that gap by building a virtual environment that promotes a sense of belonging. So a lot of these online students, after they finish, they never even seen a campus, and the first time they probably come to see the campus was during their graduation. So to build that environment and promote this sense of belonging that they belong to the school education is critical and the main goal of this project. And on top of that, this is also a platform for students to engage with information that can help them with their studies, especially for first-year students who needs these information, and many do not have the time to explore on their own. So two key elements that needs to be achieved. One is that the environment must promote immersion and sense of presence. And this is a good thing by using virtual environment, as it can recreate a sense of an environment that probably a person has never seen before, and with the VR technology, they can still be inside the environment and feel that they're actually a part of it. So to be able to replicate the view that any students who come to campus can see. So for this project, the setting is set at the school education reception area, which is at building 501 level 3. And also to receive the information through interactions. So through interactions, by allowing them they have to perform actions to receive the information, which can solidify their way of the information they have gained. So before the project started, I had a look at some other virtual environments and how some of these developers have tackled this kind of project. One of them is the Fine Arts Museum VR, and the other one is Kokoda VR. Both can be found on the Steam page along with the pictures. What made the Fine Arts Museum stood out the most is the level of immersion, the realism of the environment, as it really recreated an actual museum kind of setting that really immerses the users into a feeling that, oh, I'm in a museum. And Kokoda is another brilliant point of reference, as not only it utilizes immersive environments to replicate what actually happened, but also using real documentaries and very engaging audios to immerse the user and increasing that sense of experience. And as I've discussed in the first few weeks, that audios and videos will be implemented inside the environment. So this was an excellent point to start. So so aside from the other assets that were used to create the environment, like the furnitures, Maya was 3D modeling was a key element for the environment. The other one was the virtual reality implementation. 3D modeling utilized Maya for building some of the furniture, such as the sofa or the other doors. Probuilder is an asset that can be found on the Steam Asset Store, and it was used to create the actual room, the actual environment. Standard assets it has a 3D object called terrain, which can be dragged into the scene and it can add trees and grass and many other things that just simply increases the level of immersion for the environment. And Unity combined with the Steam VR asset was used for the virtual reality implementation. Now, the reason why Steam VR is used is because it has a lot of the scripts inside it are already built and ready to use, along with a lot of pre-built game objects which can be dragged in. So because virtual reality takes a lot to set up, as it not only requires a computer that's VR ready, which just a graphic card could cost about more than $300, but the VIVE itself could cost over $800 minimum. So it is a lot of money to set up the setup. So it was decided that the project will be expanded to incorporate another version of the same experience by allowing use of the environment through regular desktop computers. And with some minor changes. So one of the minor changes is this will be the info pad that usually appears on the left hand of the user, but in this case it has been put stuck on the wall. And other changes I have made were some of the code changes, which disable the mouse lock ability, and also replacing the prefab, which was a Steam VR player, by changing that into a FPS controller, which can be found in the standard asset, and this experience was possible thanks to Wesley. So this is the non-VR version in action. Is this the? Yeah. So this setup using a regular standard experience by using WASD for movement, spacebar to jump, and mouse click for interactions. Just me working around. Yep. This is the actual VR experience in action when the person first comes in. So the person has already interacted with the receptionist, and now the user will interact with this button to receive the info pad, which will appear on the left hand. And on the green arc, which is the teleportations, and this is the main way of movement throughout the environment. And the books are also interactive, so if anyone wants some book action can do that in the demos. This is the core user interaction, which is by engaging with prompts to receive information. So the information is set in many different scenarios, and each scenario has many sub-options, by clicking each sub-option, an NPC will appear with a video area and the control panel based on the needs. So, for example, if the user wants to learn about anything about assessments, then there will usually be a prompt about listening to academic staff members, which an audio will play that allows them to listen, or they can read the text by clicking on the text itself. And there will also be video areas which they can look at actual real video instructions. And the reason for using having one way happening at a time is to make sure that the user is not overwhelmed by the amount of information presented to them. So some of the challenges faced, one is modeling, which is interchanging with Maya and Probuilder. So by many of the objects inside the scene was imported into Unity. However, changing that object can be very difficult, except for enlarging or reducing. So not any vertex or edge manipulation. Well, Probuilder does have an option to solve this by Probuilderize. However, this made the Maya model extremely messy with vertices and edges everywhere. And although this didn't impact the project too much, texturing is another another challenge faced, as a lot of the textures, especially the matte textures, looked very repeated. And the way to solve this, one is to change the tilings of inside the texture settings in Unity. The other one was to rotate the UV maps of the actual textures to create a more random setting. Interaction was another issue, especially with raycasting. So raycasting is by user shooting a ray to a object or to a button, which they can interact at a distance. And while this can work with using camera rig, which is another prefab found inside Unity, combining with custom scripts. However, teleportation does not work in this case. And while SteamVR Player works with teleportation, raycasting cannot be implemented with it. Therefore, and given the size of the actual virtual environment and the actual size of the play area, raycasting was sacrificed for the teleportation and freedom of movement. Some future recommendations. One is a more gamified experience, so we can have a more objective-like kind of game, and for other scenarios, such as maybe they want to learn how to build up their portfolios, which I think a lot of students will care a lot about. The other one would be what's it like to learn, and we can have like some kind of a mini game kind of experience to promote this more gamified experience. NPC being more engaging. As shown in the video, a lot of the NPC is just standing still and all that. So maybe allowing the NPC to become more engaging in the future and reacting to what the user is actually doing can be a very nice add-on. Modeling of the entirety of the school education building, which is building 501, can be a very nice add-on, as it will allow a even bigger play area and transition between levels, so they can move from level 3 back to level 2, and they can look at the actual classrooms itself to further build that sense of immersion and belonging. And another direction is to be able to build the project on phone, which will allow the project to reach to an even bigger audience. So in conclusion, the project succeeded in creating an interactive, virtual, and immersive environment that allows users to explore and receive information based on interactions. And this can be accessed by both VR and regular desktop versions, so catering a lot of students, especially the online students. So first of all, I'd like to thank Rebecca, Craig, Val, Judith, and Maddie for their support and continuous feedback, and also their contribution to the project, as all the audios, text, and videos were supplied by them. I also like to thank Andrew, Daniel, and Carly for their administrative support and keeping me updated throughout the project. I also like to thank Wesley, and again for allowing for the possible of the 2D regular desktop version, and also the Unity technical support, as well as the project progression advisors. And I also like to thank the Makerspace staff for allowing use of the space for VR development, because they have the VIVE that was available for use, which was very important. Thank you.